She texted me at 9:14 p.m. while I was nursing conference champagne. "Just a heads up, I told everyone we're taking a break." I replied, "Thanks for letting me know." Then I made it permanent. She found out at her sister's wedding, right there on Facebook. Let me go back and explain how a marriage ends. Not with shouting, broken plates, or dramatic airport scenes. It ends in spreadsheets, in timestamps, in the slow buildup of proof that turns doubt into certainty, and certainty into action. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the hype button, and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? My name is Collin Ward. I'm 36 years old, lead gameplay engineer at Vertex Studios, one of the top-tier game development houses in Seattle. I debug broken systems for a living. Pattern recognition is what I do. When something doesn't compile, I trace it back to the root cause, isolate the variables, fix the logic, and move on. No drama, no emotion, just methodical problem solving. Melissa Ward, my wife of 7 years, 34, social media manager with a personal brand obsession that bordered on pathological, started glitching about 3 months before that text. Little inconsistencies first, the kind of bugs that seem minor until you realize they're symptoms of a deeper corruption in the code. Date nights canceled for work events that never appeared on her company calendar when I casually glanced at the shared digital planner we'd used for years. Late-night drives to clear her head that left her smelling like expensive cologne, not her usual vanilla body spray, but something woody and masculine that clung to her hair. Restaurant charges on our shared credit card at places I'd never been, always on evenings when she claimed to be working late or meeting girlfriends. The amounts were specific: $67, $93, $112. The kind of numbers that suggest 2 people ordering entrees and splitting a bottle of wine. Not a solo dinner. Not drinks with multiple friends. I didn't confront. That's what amateurs do. They see the first sign of trouble and immediately escalate, demanding explanations and getting lies in return. They give their opponent time to prepare, to construct better cover stories, to hide evidence. I documented instead. Screenshots of her location history from the Find My Phone app we'd installed years ago when she lost her device at a concert, and I spent 2 hours tracking it down at a lost and found across town. GPS pings showing her car parked outside addresses that meant nothing to me, yet. Credit card statements downloaded as PDFs and filed by date. Instagram story views from accounts she didn't think I monitored, captured before they disappeared into the 24-hour void. I created a private folder on my encrypted external drive and named it Post-Mortem. In game development, a post-mortem is what you do after shipping a title. You analyze what went right, what went wrong, and what you'd do differently next time. This was my marriage post-mortem, compiled in real time while the patient was still breathing. The conference was in San Francisco. 3 days of panel discussions about optimization strategies, networking mixers with other lead engineers, and tech demos for our upcoming title, a massive open-world RPG that had been in development for 4 years and was finally approaching beta. I was there to present on our proprietary streaming technology, the kind of technical achievement that gets you promotions and LinkedIn endorsements. Boring stuff to most people. Critical stuff to me. The kind of work that keeps 6-figure salaries flowing and production schedules on track and teams of 50 developers synchronized. That Wednesday evening, I was at a rooftop mixer overlooking the bay. The fog was rolling in, turning the Golden Gate Bridge into a ghostly outline. I had a glass of decent champagne in one hand and my phone in the other, half listening to a rendering engineer from Ubisoft talk about draw call optimization. That's when Melissa sent the text. I read it twice, looked at the champagne flute, looked at the fog swallowing the bridge, read the text a third time, parsing each word like I was debugging a particularly obtuse error message. Just a heads up, I told everyone we're taking a break. Not, I think we should take a break. Not, can we talk about taking a break? Not even, I need space. Past tense. Decision made. Announcement complete. She'd told everyone before telling me. I was the last to know about my own marriage status. The operational security was insultingly bad. She'd essentially handed me a public relations disaster while I was 3 states away, unable to control the narrative or manage the fallout. She'd assumed I would be passive, that I would absorb the news quietly and wait for her to decide our next move. She miscalculated. I opened Facebook on my phone and changed my relationship status from married to single. Public setting. Visible to all 943 of my contacts. Time-stamped 9:17 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 3 minutes to dismantle a marriage. Then I added a post. Melissa and I are going our separate ways. I wish her all the best in her future endeavors. Professional, neutral, permanent. I hit publish and took a sip of champagne. The Ubisoft engineer was still talking about draw calls. I nodded politely and watched the notifications start rolling in. Her sister's wedding was that Saturday. I wasn't attending. Work deadline, legitimate excuse, cleared with Emily months ago when she sent the invitations. Melissa would be there with the whole family. Cousins, aunts, uncles, her parents. The people whose approval she craved like oxygen. The audience that validated every curated post, every filtered selfie, every carefully crafted narrative about her perfect life. I imagined her checking her phone during the reception, seeing the notifications, the comments, the concerned messages, the questions she couldn't answer without admitting she'd blindsided her husband with a text message while he was at a work conference. Her face going pale under that expensive makeup, her hands shaking as she tried to formulate a response. The whispers starting around her as family members refreshed their feeds and saw the same update. I finished my champagne and ordered another. I wasn't making a scene. I was changing the rules of the game. The first real proof came 2 weeks before the conference. Melissa posted an Instagram story, one of those temporary 24-hour things that vanish into the digital void. She thought I never watched them. She was wrong. I watched everything. Every story, every post, every tagged location. I'd set up notifications so I'd know immediately when she posted. The photo showed her at a waterfront restaurant during golden hour, sunset painting the sky pink and orange behind her, a cocktail in hand, something tropical with an umbrella, expensive place, the kind with valet parking and a 3-week wait list, anniversary level expensive, tagged location, Bella Marina, Seattle waterfront. The problem? I was home that night, sitting on our couch watching our smart TV, working through a complicated memory leak in our game's asset loading system. She'd told me she had a strategy meeting with a potential client, some local boutique that wanted to revamp their social media presence. Said it would run late, said not to wait up. I zoomed in on the reflection in her sunglasses. Photography was a hobby of mine in college. I knew how to look for details in images. In the curved lens of her designer shades, faint but visible, was a man's shoulder. Dark Henley shirt, the kind that costs $150 at Nordstrom. The edge of a watch catching the sunset. Chunky, masculine, definitely not hers. I went deeper. Opened a private browser window and searched for Bella Marina's Instagram account. They were active posters, the kind of restaurant that treated social media like a marketing engine. They had a habit of reposting customer photos with permission, especially on nights when they had live music or special events. I scrolled back to that evening, found their post about sunset sessions with local jazz quartet. They'd created a collage of customer photos. And there he was, Tyler Hayes, tagged by the restaurant in a photo caption thanking guests for an unforgettable evening. Same table visible in the background of Melissa's story. Same sunset. Same time frame. He was leaning back in his chair, wine glass raised, grinning at the camera with that effortless confidence of someone who'd never faced real consequences. I clicked through to his profile. Public account. Terrible operational security for someone sleeping with married women. The kind of mistake I would never make. Tyler Hayes, 38 years old, massage therapist. His bio read, Healing Through Touch, Mobile Massage Services, DM for bookings. Followed by a series of hashtags about wellness, mindfulness, and authentic living. His feed was a greatest hits compilation of insufferable self-presentation. Gym selfies showing off his arms and shoulders. Inspirational quotes overlaid on sunset photos about living your truth and choosing happiness. Pictures of hiking trails in the Cascades and beach sunsets on the Olympic Peninsula. Client testimonials praising his healing touch and intuitive understanding of the body. A pinned post about his mobile massage service, complete with his phone number, booking rate, and a link to his website. $200 per 90-minute session. $125 for an hour. Add $50 for hot stones or aromatherapy. His car was visible in several posts, a decade-old Honda Civic with a dent in the rear bumper and a faded Bernie Sanders sticker on the back window. His office photos showed a small room with a massage table, some potted plants, and string lights creating ambiance. One post mentioned his awesome housemates in Ballard. Another thanked his landlord for being understanding about late rent this month. I did the math. At $200 per session, assuming he booked 4 or 5 sessions per day, 5 days per week, he might gross $4,000 to $5,000 monthly. Before taxes, before expenses, before accounting for cancellations and gaps in scheduling. His website, which I found through his Instagram link, hadn't been updated in 8 months. The testimonials were dated. The booking calendar showed gaps and holes. Tyler Hayes was broke. Not struggling artist broke, not temporarily between gigs broke. Structurally, systemically broke. The kind of broke where a car repair becomes a crisis and a dental emergency means not eating for a week. Hot hands, empty pockets. That combination begged to be broken. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me walk you through the methodology, the planning, the careful construction of a scenario where every action was legal, documented, and devastating. I didn't call Melissa that night, didn't send angry texts or show up at her workplace or throw her clothes on the lawn. Those are emotional responses, satisfying in the moment perhaps, but tactically useless. They generate sympathy for the target. They make you look unstable. They give the opponent ammunition. Instead, I opened a new spreadsheet, created columns for dates, actions, evidence, and anticipated consequences, started filling in the cells with methodical precision. Phase 1. Financial oxygen. Our checking account was joint, but I was the primary account holder. My paycheck from Vertex, deposited every 2 weeks, reliable as sunrise, funded 90% of our lifestyle. Melissa's social media management work pulled in maybe $30,000 annually. Decent supplemental income, terrible standalone living wage for Seattle, but she liked to spend like we were both pulling 6 figures. The BMW 3 Series lease, the boutique gym membership at a place that charged $180 monthly for access to eucalyptus towels and complimentary kombucha, the subscription boxes, the meal kit delivery service she used maybe twice before letting the ingredients rot in our refrigerator, the premium meditation app she downloaded after reading an article about self-care. I logged into our bank using the desktop app, changed the account settings so that I received notifications for every transaction over $25, removed her as an authorized user on the credit card I paid off in full every month, the one with the good rewards program and the $15,000 limit we used for everything from groceries to travel. I didn't close the card. That would be financial abuse, arguably illegal, definitely bad optics in a divorce proceeding. I just removed her authorization. She still had access to the joint checking account. She could still use her debit card. But the big credit line, the one that enabled her lifestyle, was now closed to her. Then I adjusted the autopay settings, canceled the automatic payment for her car lease, let the subscription services lapse one by one as their billing cycles came due. The meditation app, the meal kit service, the boutique gym membership, the premium Spotify account, the cloud storage for all her photos. Nothing illegal, nothing even aggressive. Just removing the scaffolding I'd been quietly providing while she built her exit strategy. I documented every change with screenshots, date and timestamps, confirmation emails, a paper trail that showed deliberate, calm decision-making rather than impulsive revenge. Phase 2. Reputation oxygen. Melissa lived for external validation. Her Instagram had 42,000 followers, not influencer level, but respectable for someone without celebrity or obvious talent. Her LinkedIn positioned her as a digital storytelling expert and brand authenticity consultant. She spoke at local marketing meetups and community college business workshops. She'd been interviewed twice for a Seattle lifestyle blog about balancing entrepreneurship and relationships. Her personal brand was built on 3 pillars: authenticity, empowerment, and relationship goals. She posted couple photos with captions about the importance of communication and trust. She shared memes about supporting your partner's dreams. She wrote long Instagram captions about vulnerability and growth. The cognitive dissonance between her public persona and her private behavior was almost artistic in its scope. I didn't slander her. Slander requires false statements. I didn't need to lie. I just needed to ask questions and let other people draw conclusions. A text to Lexi Morrow, Melissa's best friend and primary enabler. Hey Lexi, hope you're well. Is Melissa okay? She's been really distant lately and I'm getting worried. Has she mentioned anything to you? Lexi would screenshot that and send it to Melissa within 5 minutes. I knew her patterns. She documented everything, shared everything, needed constant validation from her circle. An email to Emily, Melissa's sister. Hi Emily, hope wedding planning is going smoothly. Quick question. Have you noticed anything off with Mel recently? I feel like I'm missing something and I wanted to check if you'd picked up on anything. Let me know if you have a minute to chat. Emily was the responsible sibling, the one who actually held down a stable career as a dental hygienist and had a healthy relationship with her fiancé Josh. She would absolutely notice if something was wrong, and she would absolutely mention it to her parents. A carefully worded comment on one of Melissa's Instagram posts. Public. Visible to all 42,000 followers. Love seeing you happy and thriving. Miss spending quality time together, though. We should plan a date night soon. Innocuous. Supportive. With just enough subtext to make her audience wonder why her husband had to leave a public comment asking for time with his own wife. The questions spread like cracks in tempered glass. Slowly at first, then faster as the pressure built. People started paying attention, watching closer, asking their own questions. The narrative she controlled so carefully began to wobble. I watched it happen in real time. The subtle shift in comment sections, the slight decrease in engagement on her posts, the way her responses became more defensive, more curated, more carefully constructed. She was losing control of the story, and for someone whose entire identity was built on controlling narratives, that was worse than any direct confrontation. Phase 3. The Lover's Pride. Tyler Hayes was fragile in ways he didn't advertise. His entire livelihood depended on reputation and referrals. In the massage therapy world, trust is everything. Clients are literally putting their bodies in your hands. One accusation of inappropriate behavior, one awkward public interaction, one hint of messy personal drama, and those clients ghost you permanently. His car was his mobile office, carrying his massage table and supplies to client locations. His massage table was his primary tool. Without it, he couldn't work. His charm was his currency, the thing that converted Instagram followers into paying customers and one-time bookings into regular clients. I tracked his schedule through his public booking calendar, another catastrophic security failure. He used an online scheduling service with default privacy settings. Anyone with the link could see his availability, his booking rate, his client appointment times blocked out in gray. Tuesdays and Thursdays, he worked at a wellness center in Fremont, one of those places with bamboo floors and water features and receptionists who spoke in hushed tones. Weekends were out-call appointments. He traveled to clients' homes and offices. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were mixed between mobile sessions and his home studio. I created a fake email account, booked a consultation under the name David Chen, paid cash deposit through Venmo from a burner account, showed up at the coffee shop he'd suggested for initial client meetings, a place in Capitol Hill with good lighting and privacy booths. He arrived 5 minutes late, carrying a leather portfolio that had seen better days. Up close, Tyler Hayes looked older than his photo suggested. Smile lines around his eyes, gray threading through his carefully styled hair. The physique was real. He clearly spent time in the gym, but there was something worn around the edges, like a car with a detailed exterior hiding engine problems. He didn't recognize me. Why would he? Melissa probably never mentioned her husband by name. To Tyler, I was just another potential income stream, another body with knots to work out and money to spend. David. He extended his hand. Firm grip, calluses on his palms from massage work. Thanks for meeting me, I said, shaking his hand and settling into the booth. I'd ordered an Americano. He ordered something complicated and expensive. We made small talk while his drink was prepared. He asked about my problem areas. I mentioned lower back tension from desk work, tight shoulders from poor posture, the kind of complaints he probably heard 20 times a week. You came highly recommended, I said, as he returned with his vanilla oat milk latte or whatever the hell it was. Friend of a friend. Said you really helped with their chronic pain issues. His face lit up. Word of mouth is everything in this industry. I really pride myself on creating a healing space where clients feel safe and heard. Reputation, I said. Exactly. It takes years to build trust and seconds to lose it. I'm really careful about maintaining professional boundaries and ethical standards. The irony was so thick I could have spread it on toast. You're pretty booked up, though, I continued, pulling up his calendar on my phone. Looks like business is good. Can't complain, Tyler said. He had that easy confidence of someone who'd never been truly cornered, never had to face real consequences for his actions. Though it ebbs and flows, you know? Some months are great, others are lean. That's the nature of freelance work. Must be tough, I said, especially with equipment costs and transportation and everything. Yeah, the overhead is real, but I love what I do, helping people heal, creating space for wellness. That's worth more than a steady paycheck. Easy to say when someone else is funding your lifestyle, I thought. Easy to play the noble healer when your married girlfriend is covering dinner tabs and weekend getaways. We talked for another 20 minutes. He explained his philosophy about holistic healing and the mind-body connection, showed me his certification credentials, discussed his rates and package deals. I didn't book a session. Instead, I said I needed to check my schedule and would reach out to confirm. We shook hands again. He gave me his card, professionally printed, decent quality cardstock. Probably the last nice thing he'd splurged on before the money got tight. I watched him leave, watched him get into that beat-up Civic and pull out of the parking lot with careful precision, like someone who couldn't afford a fender bender. I didn't feel guilt. I felt clarity. Phase 4. The stage. Emily's wedding was 6 weeks away when I started planning the finale. The ceremony was at a vineyard estate in Woodinville, about 40 minutes northeast of Seattle. 200 guests, professional photographer, videographer, live band for the reception, open bar, plated dinner service. The kind of wedding that costs $60,000 and creates memories people talk about for years. Emily had hired a DJ and AV company for the reception, standard practice for events that size. They were handling the sound system, the wireless mics for toasts, the uplighting, and the projector setup for a slideshow of childhood photos. I called the AV company on a Tuesday afternoon between meetings. Hi, this is Collin Ward. I'm the bride's brother-in-law. Wanted to add something special to the reception. The coordinator, a woman named Jennifer with an enthusiastically professional phone voice, responded immediately. Of course. We love when family members want to contribute. What did you have in mind? I wanted to put together a memory reel. Just a quick montage of photos from family and friends throughout Emily and Josh's relationship. Something sweet to play during the reception, maybe between the toasts and the cake cutting. That's so thoughtful. We do that all the time. It's actually one of our most popular additions. How long were you thinking? Maybe 4 or 5 minutes? I'll keep it concise. I know attention spans at weddings can be short. Jennifer laughed. Perfect length. Just send us the file 3 or 4 days before the event, and we'll load it into our system. We'll queue it up for whatever timing you prefer. Ideal. I'll put together something tasteful and get it to you by Wednesday before the Saturday wedding. Sounds great. I'll make a note in our event file. Is there anything else you need? That should cover it. Thanks, Jennifer. I hung up and opened Final Cut Pro on my laptop. The video took 3 evenings to construct. I worked on it after Melissa went to bed, sitting at my desk with headphones on, drinking coffee that had gone cold hours ago. I started with Melissa's public Instagram stories. The platform makes it easy to download your own data, and since we followed each other, I had access to most of her posts. I didn't need to hack anything or break into her accounts. It was all publicly available, posted to an audience of 42,000 people who she'd invited to watch her curated life. I arranged the stories chronologically, her posts about self-care Saturdays when I was home alone working on production deadlines, her inspirational quotes about choosing yourself and authentic connections and not settling for less than you deserve, her photos from restaurants and bars and hiking trails, all tagged with locations and timestamps. Then I added context. A screenshot of our shared Google Calendar showing those same dates and times, with my location documented at home or work. A screenshot of our credit card statement showing charges at those same restaurants. A photo from Tyler's account showing the same sunset from the same waterfront restaurant on the same evening. No voiceover, no accusatory captions. Just images placed side by side. Let the audience draw their own conclusions. Then came the text messages. Lexi Morrow had a compulsive need to document everything. She screenshotted conversations and shared them in group chats. It was her way of processing social situations, turning private moments into content for group analysis. One of those group chats included Melissa's cousin Andrea, who had never really liked her. They grew up competing for their grandmother's approval, and old resentments don't fade easily in families. When I casually mentioned to Andrea that I was feeling out of the loop about Melissa's recent distance, she forwarded me screenshots without hesitation. The screenshots showed Lexi coaching Melissa through the affair, encouraging her to explore her needs and prioritize her happiness, telling her Collin will never know, and you deserve to feel alive again, and life is too short to stay in something that doesn't fulfill you. The cognitive dissonance was stunning. These were the same women who posted about supporting other women and believing survivors and the importance of honesty in relationships. I added those screenshots to the montage, timestamps visible, names unredacted, context clear. The final video ran 4 minutes and 37 seconds. I set it to a soft, instrumental piano track, something wedding appropriate and emotional. The kind of music that makes people pay attention without overwhelming the visuals. I exported it in 1080p, saved it to a USB drive with a printed label, "For Emily and Josh, a family tribute." I sent it to Jennifer the Wednesday before the wedding, along with a warm email about how excited I was to contribute to Emily's special day. She confirmed receipt within an hour, said they'd queued it for 8:30 p.m., right after the best man's toast and before the cake cutting. Then I waited. Melissa called me 4 days before the wedding, Thursday evening. I was at the office finishing a code review when my phone buzzed. I looked at her name on the screen and let it ring twice before answering. "Hey," I said, neutral, professional. "Collin, Her voice had that tight, controlled quality she used when she was trying not to sound panicked. "We need to talk." "I'm listening." "Why did you change the credit card settings?" Straight to it. No preamble, no pretense of concern about our relationship, just the money. "You said we were taking a break," I replied calmly. "I figured we should separate our finances during the transition. Makes things cleaner if we're moving toward separate lives." "That's not... I didn't mean..." She stopped, regrouped. "I meant a break to figure things out, not a complete separation." "What's the difference?" "The difference is you're cutting me off financially. That's controlling behavior, Collin. That's financial abuse." I almost laughed. Almost. "You have full access to the joint checking account. You have your debit card. You have your income from your business. I simply removed your authorization from a credit card that I pay off every month from my salary. That's not abuse. That's setting boundaries." Silence on the other end. I could hear her breathing, could imagine her sitting in our bedroom, her bedroom now, I supposed, trying to formulate a response that would get her what she wanted without admitting what she'd done. "Collin, this feels like you're punishing me." "For what?" I asked, genuinely curious to see if she would actually say it. More silence. "Melissa, you texted me while I was at a work conference to tell me you'd already announced our separation to everyone you know. You made a unilateral decision about our marriage and informed me after the fact. I'm simply responding to the situation you created." "I needed space," she said. Her voice cracked slightly, calculated or genuine. I couldn't tell anymore. "I've been feeling disconnected and I needed time to figure out what I want." "And have you? Figured out what you want?" "I don't know. Maybe. That's why I wanted a break, to get clarity." "Well, you've got it," I said. "I changed my Facebook status to single. I've started separating our financial entanglements. I'm giving you all the space you need to figure things out. Indefinitely." "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean, Melissa? Explain it to me. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you wanted permission to explore other options while keeping me as a safety net. You wanted the freedom to do whatever you want without the consequences of actually ending the marriage." The silence stretched longer this time. "We should talk in person," she finally said. "Not over the phone. This is too important." "I'm busy this week. Major deadline at work. Emily's wedding is Saturday. Maybe after that?" "You're not coming to the wedding?" "I told Emily months ago I couldn't make it. Work deadline. She understood." "Collin, that's my sister's wedding. You should be there." "You announced our separation, Melissa. Would it be appropriate for me to show up at a family event after you've told everyone we're broken up? Wouldn't that create awkward questions and uncomfortable situations for Emily on her special day?" I could hear her processing that logic, realizing the trap she'd built for herself. "This feels like you're being vindictive," she said quietly. "I'm being practical," I corrected. "You made a choice. I'm respecting that choice and adapting accordingly. If you want to change course, we can discuss it, but not right now. I have a code review to finish." "I feel like you're twisting everything." "Have a good evening, Melissa." I hung up before she could respond. The phone rang again immediately. I declined the call. It rang a third time. I turned off the ringer and went back to my code review. Lexi called me the next day. Friday afternoon. I was in a meeting with my team when my phone buzzed on the conference table. I saw her name and let it go to voicemail. She didn't leave a message. She tried again an hour later. This time, I answered. Stepped out of the office into the hallway. "Lexi," I said, "what can I do for you?" "Collin, what the hell is going on?" Her voice was sharp, accusatory, the tone of someone who was used to getting her way through aggressive confrontation. "You'll have to be more specific." "You know exactly what I'm talking about. Melissa is freaking out. She says you're being controlling and manipulative." "Did she tell you she sent me a text announcing our separation while I was at a conference? Did she mention that part?" She needed space. She's been unhappy. And I'm giving her space. All the space she needs. By cutting her off financially? By sending weird texts to her family? By changing your Facebook status without even discussing it? She announced the separation to everyone she knows before telling me, I said calmly. I simply made her announcement official. As for the finances, I removed her authorization from a credit card I pay for. She still has access to shared accounts, and I haven't sent weird texts to anyone. I've expressed concern about my wife's well-being to her family members, which seems appropriate given the circumstances. You're twisting things. You're making her look bad. I'm not making her do anything, Lexi. I'm responding to the situation she created. She's my best friend, Collin. I know what you're doing. What am I doing? The question hung there. Lexi couldn't articulate it without admitting she knew about the affair, without revealing that she'd been coaching Melissa through it, without exposing her own role in the situation. You're trying to control the narrative, she finally said. No, I replied. I'm simply refusing to let her control it exclusively. There's a difference. She deserves to be happy. I agree completely, and I'm removing myself as an obstacle to that happiness. Permanently. I hung up. My phone buzzed with texts over the next few hours. From Melissa, from Lexi, from numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored them all and focused on work. Saturday morning arrived. Wedding day. I spent it at the office, finalizing a build for Monday's QA push. My team was in crunch mode. We had a major milestone delivery coming up and bugs to squash. I worked through lunch, fueled by coffee and the quiet satisfaction of checking items off a production schedule. Around 3 p.m., Instagram notifications started appearing. The wedding had begun. Guests were posting photos of the vineyard, the ceremony setup, the elegant white chairs arranged in rows overlooking the grapevines. Melissa appeared in several posts, stunning in a navy bridesmaid dress that probably cost more than Tyler's car payment, smiling, radiant, holding a champagne flute and posing with Emily. Her Instagram profile still listed her as married to me. I wondered how long that would last. The reception started around 6 p.m., more photos. The venue transformed with string lights and uplighting, tables set with elegant centerpieces, the dance floor empty and waiting, the DJ booth visible in the background of several shots, the AV company's equipment set up professionally. I ordered Thai food, sat on my couch with my laptop balanced on my knees, refreshed Instagram periodically, waited. At 8:47 p.m., my phone exploded. Texts from Melissa's mother, her sister, her cousin, unknown numbers, all variations of the same message. What the hell did you do? I didn't respond immediately, just watched the notifications pile up like error logs in a crashed system, watched the panic propagate through the network. A voicemail from Emily appeared. I listened to it. Her voice was thick with tears. How could you do this at my wedding? This was supposed to be my day. You ruined it. You ruined everything. A text from Melissa, all caps. You're completely psychotic. Another from Lexi. This is unforgivable. What you did is unforgivable. I poured myself a whiskey, opened my laptop, started drafting an email to my divorce attorney, a consultation I'd scheduled 2 weeks ago, just in case. The messages kept coming. Melissa's father. We need to talk about this. An aunt I'd met twice. I can't believe you would do something so cruel. A college friend of Melissa's. You're disgusting. Around 9:30 p.m., my phone rang, a number I recognized from my research. Tyler Hayes. I let it ring 3 times before answering. Hello? Is this Collin? His voice was tight, compressed, the vocal equivalent of a clenched fist. Speaking. What on earth did you just do? I made a video, I said calmly, for the wedding. Did you see it? You humiliated her. You humiliated both of us in front of her entire family. I showed screenshots, I corrected. Public Instagram posts, text messages she sent, context from shared accounts and calendars. Nothing fabricated, nothing false, just information arranged chronologically. You're absolutely awful. And you're a broke massage therapist who thought he could coast on charm and borrowed money, I replied. How's that working out? Silence. Then, you don't know anything about me. I know you drive a 2013 Honda Civic with a dent in the back bumper. I know you rent a room in a shared house and sometimes struggle with rent. I know your massage table is collapsible and portable because you can't afford a dedicated studio space. I know your website hasn't been updated since March and your booking calendar has more gaps than appointments. I know Melissa funded your weekend getaways and restaurant dinners because your margins are razor thin and your financial situation is precarious. More silence. Longer this time. Should I continue? I asked. I'm done with you. That's what I thought. I took a sip of whiskey. You thought you were special. You thought you'd found something real. She told you her husband didn't understand her, that I was boring and distant, that she deserved better. And you believed her because it felt good to be chosen, to be special, to be the exciting alternative to the stable, boring provider. You don't know what we have. Had, I corrected. Past tense. You think her family will let this continue? You think she'll choose you now that everyone knows? Now that her parents have seen the screenshots? Now that her sister's wedding will forever be remembered as the night Melissa's affair was exposed on a 10-foot projector screen? Tyler's breathing was audible over the line. Quick, shallow. She loved me, he said, quietly, almost to himself. Maybe, I allowed. Or maybe she loved the fantasy, the escape, the validation, the feeling of being wanted by someone new. Love is complicated, Tyler, but consequences aren't. He hung up. I finished my whiskey, checked Instagram one more time. The posts from the wedding had stopped entirely. The feed that had been overflowing with photos and updates suddenly went quiet, as if someone had pulled the plug, like the party stopped in the middle of the celebration. I imagined the reception hall, the confused guests, Melissa's face illuminated by the projector light as her own words, her own choices, her own calculated deceptions played across the screen. No narrator needed, no accusations required, just timestamps and screenshots and the devastating context of seeing everything laid out sequentially. Her parents watching their daughter's carefully curated life collapse. Emily realizing that the tribute video her brother-in-law had contributed wasn't sweet or sentimental. It was evidence. Lexi seeing her own text messages projected publicly, her coaching and encouragement, and Collin will never know visible to 200 people. The whispers, the phones coming out, the screenshots being taken of screenshots, the viral loop beginning. They raised their glasses during the toasts. That was the last second they felt untouchable. I slept well that night. Better than I had in months. Sunday morning, I woke up to 73 unread messages. I deleted them without reading, made coffee, went for a run, came back and showered, checked my email. The divorce attorney had responded to my consultation request, available Tuesday afternoon. I confirmed the appointment. Around noon, I drove to Woodinville. The Vineyard Estate was 43 minutes northeast, traffic light on Sunday morning. I pulled into the parking lot around 1:15 p.m. The wedding cleanup was underway. Rental company trucks were loading tables and chairs. Catering staff were breaking down the kitchen setup. Tyler's car was still there, the beat-up Civic with the dent and the Bernie sticker, parked in the back corner of the lot, away from the main activity. He was sitting on the steps near the parking area, head in his hands. He looked up when he heard my footsteps on the gravel. His eyes were red, face unshaven, same clothes from last night, wrinkled and stained. "You should leave," he said. His voice was hoarse. "Probably," I agreed. "But I wanted to make sure you got the message." "What message?" "That choices have consequences. That you can't just walk into someone's life and take what you want without impact. That the fantasy you were sold was built on lies and stolen money and borrowed time." Tyler stood slowly. He was taller than me by 3 inches, broader in the shoulders, the kind of build that probably intimidated people in confrontational situations. "You want to hit me?" I asked. "Go ahead. There are security cameras on the building. Witnesses in the parking lot. You'll get arrested, lose your massage license. Your remaining clients will disappear. Everything you've built, as precarious as it is, will collapse. He didn't move, just stood there with his fists clenched at his sides. I stepped closer. She told you I didn't care, didn't she? That I was boring, emotionally distant, that I didn't appreciate her or understand her or make her feel alive. Tyler's jaw tightened. She lied, I continued, to both of us. She wanted the stability I provided, the income, the nice house, the lifestyle she posted about on Instagram, and the excitement you offered, the romance, the physical connection, the feeling of being chosen. She wanted to keep us on separate stages, so neither of us saw the full picture. You don't understand what we had, Tyler said. What you had was a fantasy relationship funded by my salary, I replied. Those dinners you shared? I paid for them. Those weekend trips? My credit card? The time and freedom she had to meet you? Possible because I handled the mortgage, the bills, the adult responsibilities of maintaining a life? You were playing romance on my dime. His face flushed. That's not... We loved each other. Maybe you did. But love doesn't excuse deception, and it definitely doesn't shield you from consequences. I walked past him toward his car. He started to follow, then stopped, uncertain. His massage table was visible in the back seat. One of those professional portable ones with aluminum frames and adjustable legs. Probably cost him $800 new. An essential tool. Without it, he couldn't do mobile appointments. Without mobile appointments, he lost half his income. I opened his car door. It was unlocked. Another small failure of awareness. Tyler shouted something, started moving toward me. I pulled the massage table out, set it on the pavement, found the hinge mechanism that locked the legs in place. Solid construction, well maintained. What are you doing? Tyler's voice cracked. Don't. I stomped on the hinge, hard. The metal flexed, held. I stomped again. The locking pin sheared, the mechanism bent. A third stomp and the hinge collapsed completely, legs buckling at an awkward angle. Tyler lunged at me. I sidestepped. He stumbled, off balance, and caught himself against the car. Security from the venue was already moving toward us. They'd been watching from the main building. That's destruction of property, Tyler shouted. His voice was desperate now, panicked. Sue me, I said calmly. Get a lawyer, file a police report, go to court. Explain to a judge why you were at my wife's sister's wedding the morning after your affair was exposed publicly. Explain the chain of events that led to this moment. Put it all on the record. I'll countersue for alienation of affection. We'll subpoena Melissa's financial records. Show how much of my money funded your relationship. Calculate damages. Make it very public and very expensive for everyone involved. 2 security guards reached us. Large men in black polo shirts with company logos. One stepped between Tyler and me. The other assessed the situation with the practiced eye of someone who'd broken up wedding fights before. Everything okay here, gentlemen? The first guard asked. His hand was near his radio. He broke my equipment, Tyler said, pointing at the collapsed massage table. He destroyed my property. The guard looked at me. That true, sir? I was clumsy, I said. Accidentally bumped into his car while walking past. Didn't realize his equipment was so precariously positioned. I apologize for the damage. The guard's expression suggested he didn't believe me for a second. But he also clearly didn't want to deal with a he-said situation in a parking lot on Sunday afternoon. Both of you need to leave the property, he said. This is a private venue. The event is over. If you want to file reports or press charges, you can do that elsewhere. I nodded. Of course, I was just leaving. I started walking back toward my car. Tyler called after me, voice breaking. This isn't over. I stopped, turned, looked at him standing next to his broken table, security guards flanking him, no leverage left to work with. Yes, it is, I said. You just don't realize it yet. I got in my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I watched Tyler sink down next to his broken equipment, security still watching him, no clear path forward. Hot hands, empty pockets, broken tools, and no way to fix any of it. 3 days later, Melissa's attorney sent divorce papers via email. Standard no-fault dissolution. Division of assets. No alimony demands. She knew she couldn't claim financial need with her affair documented and time-stamped. I signed immediately. Didn't negotiate. Didn't counteroffer. The marriage was already over. The paperwork was just making it official. Lexi's Instagram went private within 48 hours of the wedding. Her speaking engagement at a Seattle marketing conference, scheduled for the following month, was quietly canceled. The organizers cited scheduling conflicts. Her consulting website went offline. The group chats where she'd held court went silent. Turns out, being the person who coaches married women through affairs doesn't play well when the screenshots go public. Tyler's massage business collapsed over the following weeks. I didn't have to do anything. His clients saw the drama, saw the broken table, saw the mess. In a business built entirely on trust and professionalism, he'd become a liability. Appointments canceled. Reviews went from 5 stars to 1 star with comments about unprofessional behavior and drama. His website stayed up for another month, then vanished. Last I heard, he moved back to Spokane. His Instagram account was deleted. No trace left except in screenshots saved on phones across Seattle. Melissa moved in with her parents. Her follower count dropped steadily, not dramatically, just a slow bleed as people lost interest in someone whose authenticity had been exposed as performance. The lifestyle posts stopped. The empowerment quotes disappeared. Her last post was a generic sunset photo with no caption, then silence. Her brand, crafted over years of careful image building, collapsed in one night. Turns out, authenticity only works if it's actually real. I got promoted 6 weeks later. Lead engineer to engineering director. Bigger team. Larger projects. The kind of role that required focus and strategic thinking. My director mentioned that I'd handled the personal difficulties with impressive professionalism, that I hadn't let it affect my work quality or team management. I didn't correct him, didn't mention that destroying my wife's affair had required the same methodical planning and execution as shipping a major game title. Requirements gathering, resource management, timeline optimization, quality assurance, launch strategy, same skill set, different application,